we opened up this talk before is like we're here because we've done that work, and we can, we can only take people as far as we've gone ourselves.
Hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why I just, I kind of think it's funny sometimes with like the therapists and that sort of more clinical side of things. And really like when we're talking about like people's like well-being and vitality for life, or like looking at their consciousness, a lot of the time. And I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are therapists and they know everything in the book, but they don't have the lived experience of that evolution. And I think that's why so many people kind of get disheartened with that field.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's a big like underground movement, um, because this phenomenon it's happening here. There's like an organization that was training therapists to lead like psychedelics, and they had one journey, and then they were like psychedelic assisted therapists, but they didn't understand the medicine world at all. um and uh, yeah, so there's this like controversy of integrity of like how, or some of them would read about it, not even do a journey, and then they're guiding others on like theoretical information. um yeah, it just doesn't sit right versus someone who might not have the credentials of a psychotherapist, but has done so much inner work, who understand the nuances of those spaces, and like, yeah, the intensity of it, and the mysticism of it. um I don't know where I'm going with with this comment, but it's like, yeah, there needs to be a deeper integration of experience, for a practitioner, like lived experience, and then at the same time, those underground practitioners learning about trauma, because essentially that's what they're guiding people through is like deep, deep shit, and knowing how to care for somebody in that.
Uh-huh. No, you're absolutely right. And my teacher in the ayahuasca world, he had like a company reach out to him and be like, "Hey, like I know you're an ayahuasquero. We have this like massive opportunity right now with like creating pharmahuasca." And it's like, "Are you guys interested in like being part of this? Like there's so much money to be made." And my teacher, he just goes, "You guys have fucking no idea what you're getting into. No idea. Like I'm not coming anywhere near you guys, you know? Like the medicine world's a no joke." And I think you touched on something like really good, where, we live in a day and age where our access to medicines has like never been so great. Like you go back in the tribal settings and it's like only the people who are like serving the medicines like have the access to everything, and now it's like we have access to everything and basically no teachers, so like from your perspective, like what are like the serious like ethical considerations that practitioners and participants should be aware of, you know?
Man, I want to say, like, as a person who's, say, serving or holding like trip sitting, is like proper screening, to be honest. Like, not everybody can handle even Canva or psychedelics. I know when I first started, when I was younger, I was like, this is the medicine for everyone. I was like so evangelical, like everybody needs to do this. And then over the years, it's like I've actually like pulled back and supporting people and slowing them down is like, is not everybody's ready on a deep psychological level. um and even like, yeah, here in Vancouver, it's the access is everywhere. There's dispensaries, you can go get LSD in your smoothie and microdoses of everything, and dispensaries. And I was standing in one, I was getting like a coca leaf latte at this one of the dispensaries. And then someone beside me walks up to the counter and is like, "Hey, I'm looking for microdosing. What do you know?" And then there's this like young girl who's like, "Oh, okay, this one, it's like good for you for like your mind and stuff. And yeah, you take like 500 milligrams as a microdose." And I was like, 500 milligrams? That's not a microdose. And just like spewing this like really incorrect information. And the person's like, "Okay." And this like goes off and takes it. Or even like vape pens right now, like 5-MeO or NNDMT vape pens. These things are so powerful. Like, and there's no information, like, you just go over the counter and buy it, and then there's no, dosage. People are going home and doing it on their own and having this, like, crazy trip and freaking out and then needing, what's it called? Therapy because they just access some part of themselves that traumatized them. People who are considering doing the information or doing them with no information is like find somebody to guide you through your first experience. Knowledgeable person with experience. Um, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question or if I just went on a side tangent.
No, I mean, I think you were right on the money, you know? Like we're coming into a weirder time with all of these things. And even just the way that people think about them too. Like I was like smoking weed when I was younger, and everything that we had in Australia was just like we grew in the bush, you know? And like you'd smoke like 3 king joints in a night and it was like you were chilling, you know? And like I came to Canada and went to a dispensary. This is like 6, 7 years ago, you know? And you have like one puff and you're on the floor and you're just like, holy fuck. And I see it now with like the mushrooms and the psilocybin too, where there's all these beautiful alkaloids that make this medicine, and it's like all the growers now, it's just like more potent, more potent, more potent. That's like all they care about. And they have like big competitions of like who has the most potent genetic. And it's like we lost our minds. That has nothing to do with what this is.
Yeah, I think this like infatuation of intensity, right? Speed, go like bigness is compensation for how numb we are. It's like we need something really strong to feel something. So the small nuanced things like a microdose, right? The nuances, small somatic shifts we feel are just like inaccessible to how the average person is quite numb or like overstimulated or hyper vigilant or over caffeinated. Most of us are living in fight, flight, or freeze. And we need something big and strong and fast to like break through that so that we can actually.
Thanks so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed the show. If you did enjoy the show, don't forget to like and subscribe below. It really helps a growing channel like this out. And click up here, it'll take you to a collection of the best this podcast has to offer.